my name's Emma. Our son George started his education at Ripon Grammar School as a weekly boarder in Year 7. We chose Ripon Grammar School because it has an excellent reputation academically and holistically. We are lucky we do have good schools around us in our local catchment, but Ripon Grammar School had the addition of boarding, and it's a state school, so you're not having to pay the private school fees and the VAT on the private school fees. George settled in really well into the boarding. He took to it like a duck to water. He went not knowing anybody else at the school and nobody in the boarding house. So very much an independent, but there were 3 of them in their dorm. They got to know each other really well quite quickly. There were other dorms with first years in as well, and they all got going, they all got together. It was, for us as parents, it was very reassuring. We could go to bed and sleep easily knowing, having spoken to George, that he was well, he was happy, he was enjoying things. I can tell George is happy in boarding. It's a bit difficult with boys because I don't know many boys who've gone into Year 7, Year 8 who say yes, they like school, so you have to gauge it a bit yourself. But when he goes back to the boarding house on a Sunday night, he's always packed up, he's always happy, he's always ready to set off, walks in, ready to leave us at the car, just saunter in. He's very comfortable, very familiar with the surroundings and settings, and which he got to very quickly. So that's definitely a way of being able to tell that he's happy there. He has good friends, which is another way to tell that he's happy. They seem to be able to make friends easily, and it certainly helps him to get on with people from all walks of life, all different situations, which is a really good life skill. He is well supported at school through his teachers. The education is very good, and he's well supported in the boarding house. It's teaching him to become his own person. He's growing to be his own person. He's becoming more independent. He's getting better at preparing himself. The structure that the boarding house provides with their set period for prep is really good, and it pushes him to make sure that he gets his work done and to keep on top of his work. So that is a real bonus, and I think that structure is probably easier than something that we might have had at home where you'd be a bit more fluid. As a person, he's also developing as an individual, which is really nice to see. He has his own thoughts, he has his own ideas, and it's nice to see those coming on and encouraging and becoming an individual himself, and developing and flourishing really, and learning to be independent, learning to be proactive really. Communication from the boarding house is very good. In preparation, before the children even go there, you get a lot of information which can look a bit of an overload, but it's really important, and it gives you the chance to know what a typical day or week might look like, how to ask for help, how to get help, who to go to, where your child can go, what they can do, some of the rules which you can explain to them before they start, just to help them settle in very quickly. There is a duty mobile, so that if you can't contact your child, you can contact the member of staff who is on duty, and you can get a message to your child, or if you have concerns, you can speak with the member of staff. So it's a very positive communication base, which is really reassuring to parents. The care in the boarding house to the children just seems absolutely top class. The children are assigned a house tutor, and you are able to get in touch with them as much as you want to or need to, and they give you regular updates about how your child is overall at school, and how they're behaving, how they're getting on from their point of view within the boarding house, but also a little bit academically as well. They're very supportive. If you have an area of concern that you want some help with, perhaps your child is maybe having a little bit of difficulty in a particular subject, by mentioning that to your house tutor to try and keep an eye on it, means that you're getting that extra support there, individual support that they need and require. And they're very homely. I feel very reassured knowing when I've had an email from George's house tutor or had a quick chat with her, if I just see her when I'm dropping George off or picking him up, we have a nice quick chat, everything's, going okay. Or if there is an area of concern, we're able to talk about it and make plans and get the outcome that you want. So it's very reassuring. I think by being a weekly boarder, George really gets the best of both worlds. He comes home, he's full of things to tell us about the week. It's really good for our own relationship, and with technology these days, there's plenty of ways to communicate throughout the week, so he never feels that far away. During the boarding time, it seems to be that there's a good mixture of time for the children to be able to relax and just have a bit of downtime, and then there is plenty of time where their time is filled. They have activities after prep every night. Sometimes it's mixed with the girls' boarding house, otherwise it's just the boys' various year groups working together, either doing some sport or working out puzzles. Being a boarder, it means that everything is there on the doorstep for him to be able to make use of. The school has its own swimming pool, and the boarders are allowed to use the swimming pool on an evening on various nights during the week. Aside from sport, the really good sport facilities, there's lots of opportunities to be involved with drama and music. And for instance, George was involved backstage with the main school production. He was also able to attend early morning and late at night because he was in the boarding house. So Ripon is a beautiful city in North Yorkshire, and it's more of a market town as opposed to a larger city, but it's a cathedral that gives it its city status. It's set in beautiful countryside. You don't have to go very far before you're in the rolling hills and livestock in fields, yet the school itself is just on the outside of town, so it's only a few minutes walk into town, which is also really good for the children to be able to build up some independence, especially when they're from a particularly rural area. They can go into town, they have to be back by certain times, so there are always parameters that have to be met and rules that are set and have to be applied. But the city itself is beautiful, and then it's not very far from places like Harrogate or York, which are bigger cities and well worth exploring, and it's very easy to get to, so it's a beautiful rural setting. From our own evidence of George at Ripon Grammar School, we would certainly recommend the school to other parents. I think that some parents are a bit concerned about sending their children away at 11. They think it seems like it's a young age. But I have to say that weekly boarding truly does offer the best of both worlds. And it's a really good start for them to learn to get on, but they're home 5 days later. So I really think it's yes, would certainly recommend the school, and would certainly recommend other parents looking into it from 11 with a view to going all the way through to sixth form.